Can you hear me now? Kevin, Coach Carroll, can you hear me? Okay. I got this thing set up as loud as I can go. I'm at the uh, tailgate here. Kevin, I can't hear you. Can you speak up? Let's see. Let's see. Let's go. We are live here on all links here with my guest. And I can't really hear you guys. Carlos, can you say something? Let's see. Streamers, comments, guests. Okay. I'm trying to see if you all can hear me. If not, we'll try something else here. Trying to turn you guys up and add a stream mute. Adding mic settings. Can you guys hear me? You can hear me, Carlos? Okay.
That's right there.
I can't hear you say something, man.
What I brought it.
Do you have any headphones?
Yeah, they're in my car. I can go grab them.
Yeah. Guys, let me try this. Hey, can you get some out of my?
Hey, can you put that up? Plug it in there. The electric's on.
Guys, hold on for a second. I'm gonna go to a commercial. It's just gonna show me on my commercial, okay? So we won't have to redo this again.
Yeah.
Then I'll get it. I know exactly what it. Let's see. Hello, Sports Scope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there, for $5 a month, 17 cents a day. You can help support the program. You ask yourself, why Sports Scope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is Sports Scope, again spelled the same way, or you can go to the Zelle app, sportscope@gmail.com. SportsScope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is SportsScope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. Hello, SportsScope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there, for $5 a month, 17 cents a day. You can help support the program. You ask yourself, why Sports Scope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is Sports Scope, again spelled the same way, or you can go to the Zelle app, sportscope@gmail.com. SportsScope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is SportsScope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. Hello, SportsScope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there. For $5 a month, 17 cents a day, you can help support the program. You ask yourself, why SportsScope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is SportsScope, again spelled the same way, or you can go to the Zelle app, sportscope@gmail.com. SportsScope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is SportsScope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. Hello, SportsScope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there. For $5 a month, 17 cents a day, you can help support the program. You ask yourself, why SportsScope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is SportsScope, again spelled the same way, or you can go to the Zelle app, sportscope@gmail.com. SportsScope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is SportsScope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. Hello, SportsScope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there. For $5 a month, 17 cents a day, you can help support the program. You ask yourself, why SportsScope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is SportsScope, again spelled the same way, or you can go to the Zelle app, sportscope@gmail.com. SportsScope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is SportsScope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. Hello, SportsScope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there. For $5 a month, 17 cents a day, you can help support the program. You ask yourself, why SportsScope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is SportsScope, again spelled the same way, or you can go to the Zelle app, sportscope@gmail.com. SportsScope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is SportsScope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. Hello, Sports Scope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope, spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there. For $5 a month, 17 cents a day, you can help support the program. You ask yourself, why SportsScope? Well, I bring in such big names such as Al Borges, former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is SportsScope, again, spelled the same way. Or you can go to the Zelle app, sportscope@gmail.com. SportsScope has about 5,000 followers and growing. If you want to advertise on the program, you can email me. The word is SportsScope, spelled the same way again, @gmail.com. Thank you and enjoy the program. Hello, SportsScope followers. After 5 years of doing this program once a week, balancing a 60-hour work week job, I've decided to do the program 5 days a week, 1 hour a night, taking a significant pay cut. So I've started a Patreon page, which is Patreon, Patreon/SportsScope,
Hey, can you guys hear me?
spelled the same way at the bottom of the screen you see there. For $5 a month, 17 cents a day, you can help support the program. You ask yourself,
I can hear
why
somebody with
SportsScope? Well,
the mic
bring in
is
such
reverbing.
big names such as Al Borges,
Carlos.
former Auburn offensive coordinator, and I cover the big news in sports that the corporate media will not cover. If you want to contribute more than $5 a month, you can go use the Cash App. The cash tag is
Okay, guys, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
All right. Hey, appreciate you coming on now. Apologize about the delay there. We've had a lot of crap going on here that I wasn't expecting. Okay, so we are 6 years. Kevin, I'll start off with you. Last time I was here was 6 years ago. We're about, it feels like it's 20 degrees difference from the last time we went to that game, Tennessee, Florida, back in 2016. What do you recall of that day and game leading up to it?
No, it was freaking miserable, hot. I remember that. I remember they were selling water for like $5 a bottle at the stadium, and people were passing out. I had a feeling we would win that one, which is why I wanted to go to that particular game, and I didn't lose faith even at halftime. So, but it was something. It was amazing.
Yeah, and I want to recall to the audience, he says, you're going to miss the comeback. Kevin says you're going to miss the comeback. It was really hot that day in September. We went to remember that guy was putting his knee in people's back behind us, a young kid.
Yeah, I remember.
We were crammed in there like sardines, you know. And he almost got into it, but his dad got on to him. Halftime comes about. It is blazing hot. It feels like it's in the middle of July. It's 93 degrees. I'm one incident. One more thing to leaving. You're like, no, you're going to miss the comeback. So I go walk around during halftime, wait forever, go to the restroom, overpay for a water that I could finally find. The ATM, the debit machine was down. And when we came back there in the second half, the whole area left, if you recall, Kevin.
Yep.
And we had plenty of room on the bleacher seats that we paid over $200 for, and witnessed one of the greatest comebacks. To recall that, Kevin, Tennessee was down 21-3, and they later, I went back and looked at the box score, won that game by 10.
Yep.
If you recall, Derek Barnett, who now plays with the Eagles, Josh, what's his name, that quarterback we had? Dobson?
Joshua Dobbs.
You had Dobbs. Yep. DeJuan Jennings now plays for the 49ers. Big play after big play. And I tell you, I was ecstatic with that comeback. It was very close to the Music City Miracle with the high fives. We're walking down Waveland Avenue. It is one of those things where, and I said I wouldn't come back. I said, I'll have to be a millionaire to come back and sit in the stadium. A friend of mine, he gassed me up to come out here. And now we've had all these technical problems, but we're going to get some kind of interviews in here and get our experience. But we got through it. So, Carlos, tell me about your 2004 experience when Tennessee beat Florida there in that walk-off.
No, I was at the 2005 where they lost.
Okay.
With Eric Ainge. Yeah.
Well, okay, they were alternating quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they ended up losing that quarterback because he had some issues. Brett Schaefer.
Yeah.
I worked with his uncle, but a guy named Ricky Schaefer, who's a maintenance man for the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, so they were alternating quarterbacks, and then Brett Schaefer got into some situations after that Florida game, though. So
yeah, he got.
So that was a game that I went to, and man, as soon as halftime hit, the same thing happened. Everybody just left. You just see the stadium looks so empty and chaotic. It's just weird.
Because they missed the extra point. Remember?
Yep, they missed the extra point. I didn't stay for that much longer as well.
You recall the kicker's name, Kevin, in 2005 when they came back and kicked the 50-yarder to win it?
Was it Will Hoyt?
It's Will Hoyt. It was Will Hoyt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played for Hendersonville. I remember him from high school too.
And then his brother played after that. So
yeah. I think they went on to the NFL as well.
Yeah.
Kevin, let me get your analysis. What do you think is going to happen today? Tennessee is 10.5-point favorites. I think that is a little much. I'll give you my analysis real quick. They did beat Pittsburgh and covered the spread, but remember Pittsburgh's quarterback went out a couple of weeks ago, and this group's got 13 starters coming back from Florida. Now Tennessee's got 15. They're playing really well. Tennessee does have 15 starters coming back, but this quarterback for Florida, this Richardson, I think his name is, he has not got a passing touchdown, but they have beat Utah. Now, Kentucky beat them last year, and this group beat Tennessee 38-17 in Florida last year. So I have my doubts about them dominating Florida. Kevin, what are your thoughts about this game particularly?
I tell you, it's straight up. It comes down to one thing. It's all mental. I agree with the 10 points on one level, in that I think Tennessee can beat them by more than that if Florida's not in their head. But if they're in their head, then because they're used to losing to Florida. So, I mean, if they could get over the mental block, and the problem is the running game. If Tennessee, if they run the ball too much on Tennessee and basically grind the clock down and not let Tennessee have the ball as much, limit their opportunities, I believe that could be a big key for Florida. But comparing Pittsburgh, I actually think Pittsburgh is better than Florida. I think they're better on the lines personally, and
Tennessee's better on the offense or defense?
I think Pittsburgh's better than Florida on the lines. I believe Florida has better running backs. They got better athletes at the skill positions, but quarterback wise, I know Pittsburgh lost their quarterback.
You there, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm here. I know Tennessee went. They lost.
Okay, you guys there? Okay, we had a little glitch there.
Oh, it's all good. They put a a lot of pressure on that quarterback, and they knocked the guy out. And you got to remember when he was in there, the defense did pretty good against him anyway. And I think the defense will do okay against Florida. It's just a matter of how much are they going to run the ball, and can they get pressure on Richardson? Because if they can get pressure on Richardson and make him have to pass, then that can cause trouble for Florida. Because I believe Tennessee's is going to be able to score. I think they're going to be able to put some points on the board as long as they can get the opportunities. And Florida beat them last year, but I really believe had Hendon Hooker had a game under his belt and play them, I think it would have been a different story. I'm not saying they would have blown them out, but I think it would have been closer, and they would have had a chance to maybe beat them last year. But it all falls down on how much pressure Tennessee is going to be able to get on Richardson, and can they at least hold the running game to a minimum? They can't let Florida just gash them up and down the field. If they can just hold them and get off the field on third downs every now and then and get their opportunities, I think they can put some points on the board. And if Florida has turnovers, it could get ugly. If Florida protects the ball, then we're probably looking at a closer game. Maybe it's a 7-10 point game, but you know how football goes. I mean, it just depends on how the flow of the game goes. But there's opportunity for them to beat them by more than 10. Then there's opportunity for them to get just lose their head, let them get in their head, and then it's close, and then they're like, oh, not again, and then they're going to lose the game. So it's like a lot of range for this game. But that's
what I remind the audience, that Tennessee has lost. Was it 17 of 18, guys?
Yeah,
or something like that.
Close to it.
17,
or 16. Either way, it's a wide margin. This is the biggest point spread in 25 years that Tennessee's ever had on Florida. So you can see it a little bit.
On paper, I think it should be, but that mental edge thing, that throws all that out the window. So
yes, that's true. And you make a good point, Kevin, because if you guys look at the history, I want to say we're talking 20, 25 years that Kentucky has not beaten Florida since Mark Stoops got there. Now, Kentucky has won 2 straight against Florida. Mark Stoops has got that team over that mental edge. It's more mental. Certain teams just seem to have other teams' number. The Ravens always seem to have the Titans number. The Titans, the Steelers seem to have the Ravens number. But the Titans always match up good with the Steelers traditionally. Same thing with college football. It just seems like Florida has Tennessee's number. They see that orange jersey, and they seem to want to play well. And Tennessee sees that blue jersey. They start to think about what people are talking about during the week. Like, well, you blew this one. You guys recall the 2000 team where Tennessee was up 12-0, running the ball up and down the field with Travis Henry. And Florida comes down and scores a last-minute touchdown, and there was a controversial.
I was at that game. I was at that game. That ESPN Game Day was there. I remember.
They're here again today.
Yeah.
I hope there's no game day curse, Kevin.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, don't.
I know.
Start telling that. It's Corso. Corso. Every time Corso picks UT, they don't win.
Not so fast.
Right, and so now it's this is an interesting game. I think they're a little bit overhyped, but I tell you what, they're ranked 11th. If they win convincingly today, and they could very well. I think they're definitely in the top 10 because I want to say Arkansas plays Texas A&M today.
Yeah, they do.
And they're the top 10, ain't they? Arkansas like 10th?
They're somewhere around, I think so. I think they're 10. They're 9 or 10, somewhere around there.
Yeah. But that would be good for Tennessee. Now, this is probably the best offense I've seen maybe since the early Peyton Manning days. What are your thoughts about this offense? Is it fool's gold, Kevin, or is it legit?
I don't know. It's legit. I think it's going to be even better moving forward because he's got a whole year under his belt now, under Heupel with Hendon Hooker. Yeah. And the only thing I'd like to see him run the ball as effectively as they did last year. They're not running bad, but just kick it up just a little bit, little notch. And I think that'll help the passing game a lot more. But going quick, it works because you catch people out of position. And it happens against the better teams too. It happens against everybody. That's why Nick Saban hates it. he wants to out athlete everybody because he gets all the best athletes every year. But he doesn't want to get called out of position. It doesn't matter how good the athletes are. If they get called out of position, you get those long touchdown passes. I hope I haven't heard. I hope Tillman's playing. I haven't heard if he's ruled out or not.
Okay.
Yeah,
they'll drop that at the last minute. Now, Carlos, do you think this offense is legitimate? I know they're third in the country. Do you think this is sustainable throughout the rest of the conference play coming up this year?
So what Tennessee has is they have a decent running game. They have a couple wide receivers. The one issue that they have is that they're young. They have young tight ends, and Tennessee needs to kind of like, if they have to force themselves and use the tight ends, they get in a little bit of trouble. You can see that when they go 3 and out, 3 and out on them, they can't make those short passes because Hooker wants to throw the ball, man. He's ready to rifle the ball every time. And sometimes those tight ends are open, but, it just, like I said, they're young and, sometimes they have good games and sometimes they have bad games and they just need to, get a little bit more consistent. And of course they're okay blocking because that's, anybody, that's your position. That's what you got to do. And that running game actually is, sustainable, but the depth in the wide receiver, they don't, after 2 wide receivers, they kind of like fall out a little bit. And then also the tight ends are a little bit too young. But of course, you got a good running, a good throwing quarterback back there that can keep the place alive. So, the thing that Tennessee would depend upon more is to see if that defense can hold the scores down from these other teams. And
what do you guys think about, Kevin? What do you think about this defense? Their defense has gotten better. They lost a lot of shootouts last year. You look at the bowl game against Purdue. I want to say they gave up 50-something points. This is very un-Tennessee like. I'm thinking back to the John Chavis days when you got Henderson there, you got Albert Haynesworth, that good defensive line. What do you guys think about this defense? Kevin, I guess you go first. How do you think it's improved from last year?
Well, I think it's a double-edged sword with the offense we run. I mean, the quick outs, like quick 3 and outs, is going to get the defense on the field more, and it's they will wear down at some point usually. But honestly, last year and going into this year, I expected the defense to be a whole lot worse than what it is. To be honest, but they lost a lot of players, a lot of good guys transferred, but. On the flip side of it, they got some guys transfer in that kind of filled the void somewhat, and it wasn't as bad as we were all expecting it to be. And I believe a lot of it has to do. I think they got really good coaching on that side of the ball, and you can tell. And because they're talented, but their depth isn't quite where it needs to be yet. So here in the next few years or couple years, you'll probably see the defense start to get a lot better. But they got good athletes right now who are getting pressure on quarterback. You saw what they did to the Pittsburgh quarterback. We say, that they did that against the second-string quarterback, but like in a fight, you freaking knock somebody out or you hit them in the body, whatever. You did it. That he didn't just fall down and hurt his ankle. They beat him out of the game, and he could not continue. So. Getting pressure on the quarterback is the big thing. The run defense isn't too bad. Pittsburgh gashed them a little bit, but I think they'll be okay though. I like what I see so far. So it's just a matter of those guys getting more experience and improving the depth. Between those two things, they should be okay.
Carlos, what do you think about this year's defense compared to last year? It seemed like they couldn't stop a nosebleed last year.
Yeah, I know, and Kevin's correct. These guys are a little bit younger. So you see that, but they're athletic, man. They're fast, and that's what's keeping them in the game as far as like stopping the quarterback, getting a few sacks already. They need a little bit more help on in the linebacker side, trying to stop the run a little bit after they get to the second row there of defense. But these guys on the outside, the safeties and the cornerbacks, man, they're doing a really good job. And if they could just hold out these teams, the offense needs to score points, and that's the most important part. the more they keep balance, the better Tennessee will start. We'll start picking up those games and being able to compete. If there's no balance, then the team is a little bit young, is a little bit green, but they have fighting spirit. They're fast and they're and they're very athletic, man. So it's people are excited because they see that. You see a team that's competitive instead of a team just going out there wearing a jersey. And that's why Rocky Top's going to rock tonight, and you have all these fans backing him up. You put the effort in, and the fans are going to support you.
I hear you. It kind of reminds me of what you said about the quarterback being knocked out. People criticize Alabama. Well, you couldn't beat Texas with a starting quarterback. Alabama, the last 2 times they played Texas in their championship game, and a couple of weeks ago, both times they knocked out the starting quarterback. Well, our job as a defensive line, anybody's job is to get pressure to the quarterback. If you sack the quarterback and he goes out of the game, if you sack the quarterback and goes out of the game, it's not your job to make sure the other team's healthy.
Yeah.
So I just they are better at making open field tackles. This is a big test for Tennessee today. Let's not just sugarcoat it. In March of last year, I thought this was a terrible hire. Josh Heupel. I know he had like 3 losses. Was it UCF or did he came from
Florida? UCF, University of Central Florida.
It was a former AD there. He hires a guy that used to coach under him. They had 3 losses. I thought, why didn't you go after a Hugh Freeze? Jeff Fisher was doing interviews publicly saying that he had a staff ready, that he was a good recruiter, former Tennessee Titans coach. Some people brought up maybe a Lane Kiffin come back. I didn't buy that, but I know this Austin that's hosting this event. He said it. He would like for him to bring a Lane Kiffin back. But I thought Hugh Freeze is a Tennessee native. And Steven said, good day for a Tennessee win. Okay. And I was very disappointed. And I was telling people, boycott the season. This team is cheap. They're supposed to get in trouble. They've got these sanctions coming back from the Jeremy Pruitt era and everything of that nature. And then I started watching the team last year. Like, they looked like a little bit of fool's gold. They got better. And then I'm seeing the improvement. My whole point is, a year and a half ago, I would have never in a million years said, I will be in Knoxville the 4th week in September, game 4 in September, as Tennessee is 10.5-point favorites. Kevin, let me ask you this. Would you have foreseen this coming a year ago if Tennessee was 10.5 to say, somebody said next year they're going to be 10.5-point favorites against Florida when that hire was made of Josh Heupel? Go ahead, Kevin.
My opinion on the coach, it started from after the Butch Jones era. Okay, I had to protect my health, so I went to I will not get excited until they give me something to get excited mode. And okay. I never bought into any of the hype, but when they hire a coach, even if I'm not crazy about the hire, my look was I'm going to support the guy. I'm going to give the guy a chance to see what he can do before I make any kind of judgments on him. And I did the same exact thing with Josh Heupel. If I'm being honest, I wasn't expecting a lot, but he actually did. When I started seeing his offense, not with what's his name, the backup who started the season last year.
Yeah, I can't remember. Who was that, Carlos?
Milton.
Yeah.
When it started with Milton, and I liked his arm talent, and I liked, but I didn't like seeing him overthrow the ball every time, which I admit he appears to have gotten better at that. But once I saw Hendon Hooker running the offense, I knew that they had something. I was like, okay, this is gonna keep clicking, and it's gonna get better as they go. Yeah. And I felt like that kind of system with a quarterback and a year under his belt, it can get even better. So, I knew there was a good chance. My whole thing was how good can the defense play with this offense, and with all the guys we lost, are they going to be able to do what they need to do? And they actually, for the most part, I'm not going to say they did what they did, but what they needed to do, but they did a whole lot more than we expected them to do, and it really went together with that offense. But would I expect them to be 10-point favorites over Florida this year?
Yeah.
Not really, and it's more because of the mental thing than anything else to me. But that's pretty much my take on it.
Okay,
oh, come
Carlos,
on, Kevin.
Same question.
Brick by brick, we gonna build this brick by brick.
Okay, but
I think I just
remember
threw
the
up
hype?
a little bit in my mouth.
You remember the hype? Oh my God, he was turning red, screaming at these kids like, he was the next Messiah. No, listen, if the coaches got to go, the coaches has got to go, and UT has been turning them over like pizza pies over there. And like it's a hypo. He did good last year. At the end of the season, stood up for the students.
Yeah.
The ones that were going to stay. He gave all the props to the students that were going to go. He opened the door for you to leave. Said, hey, transfer portal's open. If you want to go, go. And even if you go, there's a revolving door because we got guys that want to be here. And he's letting them play. And
Carlos, March of last year, would you in a million years thought that Tennessee would be 10.5-point favorites? The second year they're playing Florida at home.
So I had told Keith on his show, and when we do those Wednesday shows about college football, I told him straight up, I was like, Tennessee's their hypo's giving them a fighting chance, but they're just not deep enough, right? Yeah. And this year with the turnover that they had, the guys going into the NFL and the pro level, and the guys leaving, it was almost all the bad blood that was left from the Pruitt times, just kind of out the door. And so you see a new like you had this whole new fresh feeling. If you watch the orange and white game, you're like, wait a minute, these guys are running everywhere. They're going for it. They're hitting each other. But they're playing football. And as a Tennessee fan, that's what you want to see. That's what you're going to support. That's not just the orange and white. You want to see guys hit each other. You want to see guys make plays. We Tennessee's always put out a lot of pro football players, and and they've done fairly well, and they've come back and supported the school. So it's time to keep that going. And this revolving door of coaches, man, that it doesn't matter anymore. You got to focus on today and what you can do for today. And these kids are believing that. Hypo's looks like he's got a good coaching staff. Looks like he's doing good for himself. Looks like the students are following him. Looks like the fans are ready to follow him. So there's good things at Rocky Top. It's going to be loud today, man. And this game, from what has happened in the last two games, even if it was a 3-point, even if it was 3 points, being in Rocky Top, anything can happen. And so I'm hoping that anything can happen, and it goes in Tennessee's favor this year. So that's brick by brick.
Hey, one more thing, one more positive on Hypo. No drama.
Yeah,
it's not a bunch of bull crap. It's no drama. It's just all business, and that's probably as valuable as anything right there.
He's making them work so they don't have to be out in the streets after 10 o'clock or in the bars going up and down the strip. And that's important, man. You guys have to focus on school and focus on getting better. And they're gonna put the guys out in the NFL. If you put the work down, you're gonna get to the NFL. But don't lose your focus. And it's hard, being a kid in Knoxville. I know, it's the party hardy. That's the place to go. 4-to-1 girl to guy ratio. That's nice, right? But when you play football, man, you got to stay focused. And unfortunately, a lot of guys don't. They get in a lot of trouble. This NIL, as much as it hurts a lot of teams, it's helped UT. Because these kids, they can't scream that they're hungry and they're not getting enough food at their dorms. So this is a good, it's a good thing. It's something fresh for new start for the school year at UT, and everybody. Look, the coach is excited, the team's excited for playing football, and the fans are very excited to see some good football. So it's going to be a good game.
Hey guys, let's switch gears here. Let's talk about Florida. Okay, Florida has also changed coaches. They seem to not have it right. I want to say they've been through 3 coaches since Urban Meyer. Is that right, Kevin?
Something like that.
It seems like a pressure cooking kind of job that nobody wants. You're in Gainesville, Florida. You're in the heart of just some of the best recruiting fertile ground in America. I haven't heard anything bad about their facilities. What is the problem? Why come they can't keep a steady winter for Florida? I guess, Kevin, we'll start off with you. What's the deal with Florida?
Man, honestly, they're apparently just not hiring the right guys. The guy, I mean,
Yeah.
To be honest, what's the coach that just left?
Dan Campbell. I can't
Mullins,
remember
Dan
his name.
Mullins.
Dan Mullen. Campbell plays
He
for
was actually tailor-made for Florida, and the fact that it didn't work really astounded me, because I wanted him to come to Tennessee, because he was at Mississippi State with mediocre talent, and he was doing something, and he goes to Florida where he's got all this talent. He's got a quarterback that kind of mirrored the quarterbacks that he had coached in the past at Florida. And now he's just like, and then he goes there and they do okay. And then the next season, all this crap, all the drama, that's the thing that I was talking about, drama, that'll kill everything right there. Florida, it's a mystery why they can't get it right with the talent that they have on their roster right now, and the talent that they have access to in their state, and then in Georgia, bordering states. It's like, honestly, it's a mystery. It really is. We don't know enough about this new guy they got. I mean, he could be the answer to all of this, but right now it's just too early for him. And if it wasn't for the mental thing for Tennessee, I would say Tennessee in a landslide, but they got to get over that mental block, regardless who the coach is and regardless how long he's been there. But yeah, as far as Florida goes, they're going to eventually get the right guy in there. So we need to take care of business right now. So, I mean, and that's
get while the getting's good, huh, Kevin?
Yeah, that's being honest. I mean, we need to take care of them right now. And it's not to say we can't compete with them moving forward, but right now is the year we're supposed to beat them. We got to beat them this year. If we don't, then are any of those guys ever going to believe they're going to be able to beat Florida if they don't beat them right now? I mean,
right, guys, I've never heard of this coach before. You're the University of Florida. How come they're not attracting big names? They're not attracting assistants from the NFL. They're not attracting assistants from big universities. This guy, I've never even heard of this guy. Florida.
Listen,
there's something's up there.
There's nothing wrong with Florida. There's nothing wrong with the swamp. There's nothing wrong with the university. There's nothing wrong with the staff. There's nothing wrong with the students. What's wrong is that they have a football team that has to compete with Florida State, trying to get recruits, and now the University of Miami throwing money at these students as recruits, and they still got Jackson State that Deion's over. These kids are going places where they have opportunity to be on TV and play, and also opportunity to maybe get something in return as far as financial. And in Florida, it's not that they're not giving, and it's not that they don't have the alumni, and it's not that they don't have the staff, but you in Gainesville. And it's not as nice in the swamp, weather-wise and temperature-wise, as it is in those other schools.
Port Gable.
So it's if you're coming out, if you're coming out and you're a young kid, you're a young buck, you want to play for Deion Sanders. You want to play for Chris Cristobal, because even if he's a decent coach, you're going to get something in your pocket. And if you don't do that well, you play for the University of Miami, so you still got an opportunity to maybe get a shot at the NFL on the practice squad. So, and even Florida State, the ACC, they do a great job promoting these kids, and they have a great contract with TV, and they're going to be on TV whether they win or not. So they're okay with that. And why go to a team like the Gators and have to play Alabama and have to play Tennessee? And if you lose, you look like you're a terrible team. Like you look like you're not a good athlete or you're not a good player. And that's a mental thing that some of these kids got to get out of their head, that think that, if they go to a winning team, they're going to be winners. No, you go to a team and you have to make that team better. And right now, that attitude, it doesn't exist right now in this current situation for the Florida Gators. But don't count them out, because they do have a few kids in there, and they do have a few coaches in there working hard trying to get this team.
They've always had a fast defense.
Yeah. So
Devon
they got some
okay.
athletes, but what they don't have is depth. What they
Keep them.
don't have is what you said, like that big name of a coach sometimes creeps into those kids' mindsets. Oh, we got to play Nick Saban. You know, it's just like when you got to play Tom Brady across the field from you. That seeps into your mind. Don't give that man 2 minutes at the end of the game, or we might lose this, right?
Right.
Like, you know, Kevin's talking about the mental state. So right now, the Gators, they put things together. They got enough athletes there to compete, but they don't have depth. Right now, UT is more balanced than Florida. That's why they have the upper hand. The 10 points is a little bit too much. It makes me excited. I want to see it. I think this game's gonna be okay. But the problem here is that these SEC teams are beating each other up, and Alabama and Georgia are sitting pretty.
Yeah.
Because they are so deep. They're like 3, 4, 5 players deep. And unfortunately, if they don't get beat up, if Tennessee don't go up and beat these guys up, you know, on the Georgias and the Alabamas, if Florida don't beat them up, if Kentucky don't beat up on these guys, Arkansas don't beat up on these guys, the opportunities just keep getting worse and worse for all the SEC, not just Florida and Tennessee, but for all of these teams. Like Ole Miss, everybody, Mississippi State, you know, Arkansas, Texas, and like Missouri, all these teams are okay teams, but a lot of them aren't as deep as Georgia and Alabama right now, and that's one of the biggest problems.
I give a heads up to Ole Miss has knocked it out of the park as far as talent. Hugh Freeze, now they got Lane Kiffin. Okay, here's a scenario. Kevin, I'll let you go first, and then Carlos. Mark Norvell is the coach at Florida State. They just beat LSU to start the season. They're off to a pretty good start here. They're undefeated. He's kind of got his leggings under him. Remember, he came on during COVID, and they kind of threw things off there at Florida State. Coming into the season, you talk about Deion Sanders. He gets the #1 recruit in the country to come to Jackson State over Florida State. It kind of looks like he's bucking for a job. Kevin, if this job is available in Florida, would you think that Deion Sanders would take a Florida job? Kevin, you first, and then we'll go with Carlos. My answer is I think he would. I think he'll probably do another year or two here at Jackson State, turn around some young men's lives. He kind of played that role a little bit, a mentor. But my guess is I think he would, even though he did go to Florida State, I think he would take the Florida job. Kevin, what do you think? Deion to Florida in 2024?
My opinion on that, it depends on what his motive is, and I think he's at that Jackson. What is it, Jackson State or?
Yeah.
It's one of the black colleges, right? In the black league colleges. Am I correct on that?
The HSB, HSB, okay. Historical Black University.
I think his whole motive is to bring that those colleges up to prominence, and I'm leaning towards him being more invested in that than he is trying to make a big name for himself and get in, like, say, for example, the SEC, which at any school is going to be a pressure cooker anyway. Now, do I believe he could coach in the SEC? I honestly don't know. I think a lot of his success is because he has elite athletes, especially for the level that he's on. He's using his recognition to get these guys to come to those schools, come to that school, and that's why they're doing so well. And I don't know if he could still do that, like at a Florida or a Florida State or what have you. And honestly, I don't think that's what his end goal is. I think he wants to bring those black college league schools back up.
HBC.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for. I wasn't sure what it was called, but yeah, I think his motive is to bring those schools back up to prominence, because I don't know if y'all remember, at one time they were getting a lot of high draft picks, like in the NFL. A lot of players that you would
Richard
know.
Dent went to TSU. A friend of mine, Corey, probably watching.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and I think that's his end goal. I think he's trying to get that league back up to the prominence where players can go to the NFL, and maybe eventually someday, the way college football is changing right now, be able to compete against the bigger schools. You know, so. Because of that, I think he'll stay where he is, because I think that's more important to him right now than trying to go and make a big name for himself, like to be a Nick Saban or something like that. I think he wants those schools to be back up, and I think that's what his priority is at the moment.
You know something? Let me chime in real quick. That just struck an idea. Tom Brady's having problems leaving football. And my whole thing about Tom Brady, and this ties to Dion, is he has a void in his life. We know he's got a family. He's got some kids. His son's getting a little older, getting pretty close to being a teenager. And, a guy like Dion's made a lot of money. He became a Christian person of faith in the late 90s and early 2000s. He said he felt a void. He almost drove off of a cliff in Cincinnati. He was really down on his life. And then since he got saved or whatever, found God, he started doing some different things. Obviously, he wasn't drinking and everything. He cut all the drugs out. What you're saying could be right. He wants to fill that void by helping these men out. Mississippi's a very poor area there, an HBC with all the stuff that came on with the George Floyd stuff. You're right. Maybe he does stay there 5 or 10 years and make this team a national power. I did not think in a million years he would be able to get this defensive tackle. Former Dallas Cowboy Kevin I had on Jim Jeffcoat said he also got one of the better cornerbacks in the country because he could keep the cornerback position. So it's not about the money and fame. So on second thought, there is a chance he may stay there and wait out a few more jobs and make that program an actual power with NIL now. I've heard something about Barstool. There was rumors Barstool Sports paid this guy like $1 million NIL deal to come to Jackson State. And you know what? I like the Jackson State logo. You could tell there's more money coming into just the way those guys look. They look great. So there is something interesting there. Carlos, what's your thought? Dion, would he take a Florida job? Would he take a big job in the next few years? Or is he going to ride out Jackson State for maybe 5 or 10 years?
That's and I like that astute observation you had there, Kevin. That's I think you're kind of like on the right route.
Yeah.
And for Deion Sanders, is Primetime's going to do what Prime wants to do, and what he's got to do, and we can try to predict what it is going to happen. But Deion's going to stay at that school and that university in that area for a while because he's got kids going to that school right now. His son is the #1 top-rated quarterback in HBCU.
Oh, that's right. That's what
he's got stellar numbers.
Yep.
He's doing great. He's probably going to come out for the NFL and draft and be in the first or second round, depending on how some of these guys rate him. But he's going to be drafted pretty high. So and he's getting kids left and right. So why would you leave a situation where you got the pot that's cooking and you're getting ready to do big things? He always said that he's in it to help students and to help the community, to help black students in universities, and that's Kevin. You're on the right path there. He's not going to leave and leave a void there. He's filling the void. He's doing what he has to do, using his name and pulling people to go to historical black colleges that actually give you a great competition and an opportunity to play football at a high level. It's just not. It's just not. And then right now, and they're gonna probably pick up they could pick up a huge TV contract because some of these schools, man, they play really good football. Oklahoma State, TSU. You can go on and on about how many players came out for some of these universities. Now, the second thing is that Florida State, on the Florida State question.
So my cats. Hey, buddy. Hey,
Patrick Warren. What's his name from Patrick Warren? Is that right?
Patrick who? Oh, you talking about the commitment?
Yeah, he just pulled a wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in Hakeem Williams. To go to Florida State. Everybody was thinking he might go somewhere else. And so the future isn't bleak for Florida State. Other teams in Florida are going to have problems pulling in players from Florida, and they're just going to have to figure it out. And the NIL money, it means something, and being on TV means something to these kids. And Pickles, you're right. Like TSU, that's going to be that league. If Apple don't pick up on that league or Amazon, then ESPN is going to come right up and swoop it up because that league's going to be exciting for the next 5 to 10 years. I'm tell you that for sure.
Yeah, let me ask you that. We'll start with Kevin here. Appalachian State, they go to overtime against North Carolina. Then they go on the road and beat a Texas A&M. With this transfer portal, with this NIL, is this the new norm that there's going to be teams that we've never heard of really beating big-name teams, or just this kind of a thing because the NIL just started and things are going to kind of settle back in place in the next
from what I understand, Appalachian State they have like a 5-star quarterback, a really good quarterback apparently. But I'm going to be honest with you, the whole Texas A&M thing, I think it's more Texas A&M than it is Appalachian State. And it's not taking any credit away from Appalachian State whatsoever. To be able to put up what they did against North Carolina and still win the game, and then go to A&M, the fact that North Carolina scored was it in the 60s on Appalachian State, and then Texas A&M can't get into the 20s. To me, that's a Texas A&M problem. But Appalachian State, they're a good team, and they will beat you. I mean, you can't just show up and expect, okay, this is going to be a landslide. This ain't the team that came to Knoxville and almost beat Butch Jones. I mean, this is actually a legitimate team. But they'll be able to sneak up on some people and beat them. But like right now, I think if you put them against another top 10 team, I would pick the other top 10 team by a couple scores. But it could be the norm with the NIL,
transfer portal.
or the transfer portal, that as well. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like the message it sends when the kids, they keep transferring until they find somewhere that they can start. I kind of feel like, you're trying to take the easy way out. You don't want any competition, and this and that. I know people got different opinions on it, but I don't like the message that sends. It's like the quarterback for the Patriots from Alabama. What's his name?
Mac Jones.
Yes.
Yeah.
He stayed there. He waited his turn. Then he got the play. And did he win the Heisman, or was he's like one of the top ones?
Yeah.
He was in the running. But see, that's what I like to see. I like to see guys like do their time, sit if they have to, but when they get their opportunity, they make the best of it. And he might be one of the better Bama quarterbacks in the NFL, because the rest of them that were high quality, they go to the NFL and they usually flop. Now Tua and Hurts, they're doing something now, but let's see if that continues, because I have my doubts, but we'll see. But yeah, as far as sorry, I went off track a little bit, but yeah, the NIL, it's definitely going to change the way things are. I don't know how yet, and the transfer portal. I mean, it's going to give teams chances to kind of rebuild faster than they normally would be able to.
Is the Appalachian State win? Is that the new norm with the transfer portal, Carlos?
Yeah, so you're gonna see these FBS schools do a little bit better against these high rated schools. D1 schools coming out of they say coming out of nowhere, but some of these schools have been doing these things for a long time. Even in Tennessee, you see MTSU coming out of that conference. They're gonna play Miami today. That they might upset Miami today, because Cristobal, his record against that coach right now, it ain't that great. So Stockton, like these schools, they play okay football. They're competitive. They're just lacking that scholarship money and that NIL money and that alumni support sometimes to get you those players. And listen, App State, Georgia Southern, Liberty, these guys are playing hard. And they're playing together. They're playing a lot better than some of these kids who are going place to place and trying to find a home. And to be honest with you, Kevin, you kind of have a point, but again, that point, why don't the coaches have to stay and write out their contract? Why they get to go where they want to go? And they're the ones recruiting these kids, telling them they're going to give them a future.
I got an answer for that.
So, but I mean, like,
go ahead, Kevin.
Let me
go ahead. No, go ahead and finish. I'll say
and you high on Mac Jones, but like, the verdict's still out on him, Hurts and Tua. These Bama QBs, they're as good as much as they're as bad right now. So we don't really know what the future holds for them. And I hope for Saban's sake and his coaching background to to keep getting QBs, that these guys kind of stay competitive and stay in the mix and stay starters, because most of the time they just become, you know, backups or just, you know, go out and do their own thing because they, you know, they got a name for themselves at Alabama. So, you know, these schools, man, don't count them out. They can pull upsets, and you know, we might. And I'm gonna bring this up today because, you know, I miss being there right now in Knoxville, but we could see an upset from MTSU against Miami if Miami plays the same way they played last week, and don't be surprised, because Stockton is a good coach and he's at MTSU playing very competitive and winning there for the last. Well, he's been there. It feels like 100 years, you know.
Well, guys, this battery's getting low. Hey, let me ask you. Okay, let's go around the horn here. Let's do a final score. I'll go first. I think Tennessee will win this. I think Tennessee's 31-26. It's within a touchdown, like I said last night. Kevin, what's your prediction for Tennessee-Florida game? What's your score?
All right. I'm gonna tell you right now. I think they get over the mental block. I think they'll clear that mental block. And I actually think they're a couple scores better. I'm gonna go 42-31.
32-34?
42 to 31.
Whoa.
Oh wow. Well, that'll be tough.
I think there's gonna be points scored. There's gonna be some points scored.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. I think it's gonna be shorter than that. I think Richardson's back's against the wall. He's gonna want to show. The quarterback from Florida, he wants to show off that he's a top-rated quarterback, that he can just do more than run the ball. He can throw the rock. He just hasn't got any touchdowns yet. Yeah. I think he's probably gonna throw about 2 touchdowns. So I'm thinking the score is gonna be like 27-24, and that 10-point spread is just not realistic, you know.
So what's your 27-24?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess if they get the win, they get the win.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I appreciate you coming on and dealing with me, considering all this technical problems. We'll see what happens, and I hope to have you both back on at some point.
Oh, anytime, man. Just
Kevin, send me that information about what your response is, man. I want to hear it.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, send it to me.
Sorry. Battery's dying, guys.
No, it's all right. Send it to me.
Thanks, everybody.
I got you.